Hello and welcome to the August 24th edition of the Gold, Goats, and Guns Short News. My name's Tom Luongo. And I want to talk about Tesla. Now, I've been a Tesla bear forever. And it has nothing to do with electric cars. I've always been very skeptical of the push for first hybrids and now fully electric cars because I understand that it's part of the whole push towards control via global warming, right? Meaning that the push for electric cars and to raise CAFE standards, the mileage standards placed on car manufacturers, is done for bogus environmental reasons, okay? Not for market-based reasons. And Tesla is kind of the poster child for moving us into the next phase of kind of global consciousness that the left has prepared for us, and our globalist controllers have prepared for us as well. The forces of centralization, as it were, right? Because, and that's the biggest fear I've always had about Tesla, okay? But fundamentally, as technology, I don't have a problem with electric cars. I prefer internal combustion engines, and will buy one until someone tells me that I'm not allowed to buy one anymore. But that's neither here nor there effectively from an investment thesis. Okay. In fact, my skepticism of Tesla is the kind of thing that you should listen to in the marketplace, especially if you're a Tesla bull. We should have both sides of the Tesla argument. So, while the Tesla is a very interesting car, and certainly when it was just the Model S as a boutique car, perfectly reasonable. So was the Fisker Karma, so was the BMW, now the BMW i8, and all the other ones that are on the market. But electric vehicles don't make a lot of economic sense. They're very expensive to make. And the only reason they're even remotely competitive is because of government subsidies. Once you take away the tax subsidies, the sales dry up and they go to nearly zero, except for people who can afford to spend far more money on a car than its utility would demand. So, again, this is not about Tesla per se, but this is about Elon Musk. And the reason I'm a Tesla bear, always have been, is because I don't think Elon Musk should be the CEO of a car company. Okay, and here's the thing. Musk is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs have certain skills. Those skills are needed in the marketplace. I respect Elon Musk's prowess as an entrepreneur. But that does not mean that Elon Musk has all skills for all jobs, for all companies. CEO of a car company is different than the CEO of a graphics company, which is different from the CEO of a media company. They're different things. And so while you're trying to build a revolutionary product or you're trying to build a new thing, you need that entrepreneurial spirit to sell that idea to new investors, to sell the promise of this thing. And that's all perfectly well and good, and that's all absolutely valid. And at some point in Tesla's past, Elon Musk was the necessary ingredient to get Tesla up and running. No problem. So, no problem there. But then there comes a point where now you're going to transition from a boutique car company that makes basically handcrafted cars to a mass production unit driven sales engine, production engine. No way. Completely different set of skills as a CEO are needed to be brought to the table, period. And it's been, and the fact that Tesla's board hasn't gotten rid of him yet is a testament to one, either the fact that they can't get rid of him because Tesla's share structure is a mess, or that they weren't ever really interested in building cars in the first place, that it was always just this massive virtue signaling Ponzi scheme built to worship at the altar of global warming. So here we are. It's 2018. Tesla's been in existence 15 years. They're still selling the same cars that they were selling 10, 12 years ago. Here we are. It's 2018. How many years are we since Jeremy Clarkson's Tesla supposedly set itself on fire on the Top Gear test track all those years ago. We're talking, what, 12, 13 years ago? The Model S hasn't changed. Here we are, right? We're still talking about this. We've got a Model X now, okay? And we've got the Model 3. In the Model 3, Musk took how many deposits for these cars? He took how many thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of pre-orders on this car that he can't build? And we're sitting here watching this train wreck go in slow motion towards its inevitable conclusion, that there's a big mountain at the end of this and Tesla's running straight into it. And yet still the stock sits well above $300 a share. It's insane. When I analyze a company, say a gold exploration company, the first thing I do is I have to assess the leadership. Who's in charge of this thing? Do they have a track record of uncovering great deposits? Do they have a track record of being able to sell equity at good prices to initial investors so as to not dilute the company too much? Do they have a good track record of doing this? Is management's important? Because like building a car company, there's a long lead time. There's a lot of CapEx. There's a lot of money that needs to be spent to spin up to characterize a gold deposit, no less than turn it into a mine, which is a completely separate part of the life cycle. And even then, the CEO that oversees the first stage, the exploration, the raising of the capital, the drill programs, the going to all the conferences to try and drum up new investors and build partnerships, that guy is not the same guy who's going to build and operate the mine, get the gold out of the ground, turn it into doré, and then sell it on the open market. Those are two completely different sets of skills. In the same way that Steve Jobs was visionary at Apple, he would have never turned Apple into anything other than a complete and objective failure if it weren't for Tim Cook, who is arguably the greatest supply chain manager in the history of man. It's why Apple was never going to be in fundamental failure mode with Tim Cook taking over as CEO after Steve Jobs died. The innovation was going to stop, but not the product rollouts, not the supply chain management, not the production efficiencies, none of those things. I spent 5 years as a research chemist for a small plating shop, and I was specifically brought in to take a process that was out of control and get it into control so that we can actually sell parts. When I got there, my boss and I would joke that we were the kind of different from Avis, right? You guys have heard of Avis. Remember, Avis's motto for years was, "We try harder." Well, he and I used to joke, well, we try again. That's our company motto. And that it would be cheaper for us to just take the parts and wrap them in $100 bills and send them back to the company and never put them through our plating line. That's how bad it was. Okay, fine. And I spent a few years getting this thing under control and putting it in shape. And I watched and learned how you can see a company struggling and the amount of wasted energy and effort, people working double shifts and spending ungodly amounts of capital just to lose money. Doesn't this sound like Tesla? We've got people building cars in tents, for Christ's sake, churning out 5,000 cars a week, but 4,300 of them have to be reworked. So great, you're still just generating 700 cars that are potentially profitable. Never mind all the warranty liabilities on the balance sheet, the future balance sheet. Never mind the potential lawsuits for fraud for taking all of these orders, and never mind the fact that these cars are trapping people in the back seats and burning them alive. And all that's on Elon Musk. That all comes down to leadership. That's why Tesla's going to fail. That's why I'm a bear. And its failure is going to be spectacular. It's going to be worse than watching Sears go out of business. It's going to be worse for him than Steve Ballmer's record over at Microsoft. I've said for years that I think that Steve Ballmer is the worst CEO in the history of man. The man took Microsoft at its height, nearly $1 trillion in market cap, and then when he exited, he was $200 billion in market cap, or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. The man destroyed more capital value than any other CEO in history. But Elon Musk's failure is going to be even greater, because we're going to look back on this and go, you remember when Elon Musk wasn't in jail and we thought he could run a car company? Yeah, I remember those days. That was fun. All right, this has been the Gold, Goats, and Guns short news for Friday, August 24th, 2018. If you like what you heard today, please give a like and subscribe down below. That'd be great. I really appreciate it. You can also follow my work over at goldgoatsandguns.com. And if you really like what you heard, you can pop over to my Patreon and sign up at patreon.com/goldgoatsandguns. And you can follow me on Twitter at TFL1728. All the links will be down below. You guys have a great weekend. You take care and you keep your stick on the ice.